You already have a business idea. In fact, you've had it for years, maybe even decades. Now, the only problem is that no one has taught you to recognize it. Now, this isn't about personality tests or following your passion. I'm referring to 3 specific indicators already active in your life, clues that have sought your attention for years. And there's a specific moment when the 3 signals collide and the business idea you've been looking for finally emerges. And once you see it, it will be impossible to turn back. So by the end of this video, you will be crystal clear about the business idea that has eluded you for so long. Over the next few minutes, I'll walk you through a 3-step process that'll reveal the business you were created to build, after which you won't feel like you received information. You'll know you've received confirmation. This is part 2 of my 10-part series where I take you from idea to online business, not as someone who's figured everything out years ago and now speaks from the mountaintop, but from someone in the middle of it right now, inviting you to do it right alongside of me. But first, why does this even matter? It matters because the alternative is for you to keep searching outward, looking at what might be working for someone else, only to build a business that drains you instead of exciting you, because strategies that work on paper for someone else might not fit who you are. Now, before you assume I'm here to tell you to follow your passion, rest assured that I am not. That advice has buried more businesses than it's built. Following your passion without a framework is how you end up with a hobby that costs you money instead of a business that builds wealth. What we'll talk about is far more precise than passion and far more profitable than trends. Whether you're fueled by joy or by fire, you already know exactly what you were created to bring to the marketplace. And I'll give you a hint which we'll explore a little bit later. It's the thing that you would keep showing up for whether you are being paid for it or not. You just haven't been willing to call it what it is. And that unwillingness to name it, that right there is what keeps you searching for small business ideas on YouTube at 2 o'clock in the morning when the answer has been living in your own life the whole time. You've been looking for your business idea like it's hiding from you, but it's not hiding from you. It's been standing right in front of you the whole time. But here's what happens when you're serious about entrepreneurship, and I know that many of you watching are, or you're just starting to get serious about it. You start to look outward. You look at gaps in the market, you collect data, you study the comments section for the next great idea, you search for profitable business ideas and tips on how to get your business started. And none of that is wrong. It's just that you won't find your business idea by looking at what appears to work for someone else, because their idea wasn't built for you and their foundation won't sustain you. And if you build on a borrowed foundation, you'll always feel like something's just a little bit off, because it is. You were created with purpose, not just potential. The business you were meant to build is already woven into the tapestry of who you are. And you don't find it externally, you recognize it internally. So let me give you the 3 clues that are already present in your life right now, the 3 signals that have been trying to get your attention, and I promise this will help your business become clear to you more so than anything you've ever done. Let's explore clue number 1, the effortless expert pattern, which is something I ignored for a long time. Now, I've spent more than enough time in rooms where people were trying to figure out how to grow revenue, their influence, and this was taking part in ministries, businesses, and the like. And over, I'd see the same thing that maybe they were struggling with was obvious to me. Not because I'm smarter, but because I was wired to see it. I could look at someone's business model and within minutes I could see where the revenue was leaking or where sales opportunities were being missed. And here's what was funny, or maybe even depressing depending on how you look at it. I didn't realize how valuable it was because to me it was obvious. Like, why are we even talking about this? Just do A, B, and C and the problem will solve itself. Now, to be clear, this is more of a perspective than a skill in this area. And I'm not just telling you my story, because if you're honest with yourself right now, you already know what your version of this is. You already know the thing that you see that other people don't, which may be completely different from mine. But I'll tell you this, everyone has this capability at some level. When someone watches you do a thing, they say one of 2 things. Either, how did you do that? Or, can you teach me that? When someone asks you, how did you know that? That's not a compliment. That's a purchase intent. They're literally telling you they can't do what you just did and they want access to your ability to do it. That's market demand disguised as a question. And if you haven't been listening for those signals, you've just been walking past your business every single day. Sometimes walking past your business to a job that you don't like very much. But here's the question that used to trip me up, and it may be tripping you up as well. If I already do this well, why haven't I built a business around it? And the honest answer is because it doesn't feel like a big deal to you. Because it's too easy. You've been doing it for so long that it doesn't feel like an asset anymore. If it ever did, it just feels like you being you. And that feeling right there, that's the trap that keeps you from seeing what's already yours and what you could monetize. What feels ordinary to you is extraordinary to someone else. And that gap, between what you carry naturally and someone else would pay to have, that's the value gap. That's where your business lives. Now, before I give you clue number 2, do me a favor. Stop this video and write down what people keep coming to you for. It's important that you do this. The key thing that they call or text or email you about, the things that they pull you aside to talk about, the things that they want you involved with when they're trying to make very important decisions. Got it? Good, because this list is going to be very important to you later. Now, if you want greater insight into this, I'm putting it in this week's Prosperous newsletter, where I publish business and wealth building insights every single week. Totally free. Link in the description. It'll take you less than 30 seconds. Now let's address the second clue we'll refer to as the repeated ask. Think about people who have come to you without being prompted over the last few years, let's say 3 to 5 years. What if people called and texted you about, asked you to look at, sit in on, review, coach them through? If you're honest, there's a pattern. There are 1 or 2 things that keep showing up. People are coming to you for something they can't get at the same level anywhere else. Now here's where it gets uncomfortable. If people have been coming to you for something for years and you haven't been charging for it, that's not a personality flaw. You just haven't recognized yet that what feels normal to you is something someone else would pay for. And when you look at small business ideas, none of them account for this. None of them say build on what people have already been validating for you for many years. They say, here's what's hot right now. This is what you should do. What's trending. And you follow the heat instead of following the handshake or even the hug when people express relief because of what you bring to the table. The handshake is the repeated ask, and the repeated ask you could also call repeat business, which is your market validation right there. Now, how can I be so sure? It's simple. The market doesn't keep asking for something that doesn't work. And the fact that it keeps asking you, not someone else, that's your lane. That's what you were born to do, and nobody else can replicate that. Sure, there may be other people in your niche offering similar products and services, but they can't do it the way you do it. And the way you do it works because people repeatedly ask you to do it. So what happens when you ignore the repeated ask and keep searching outward? You end up chasing ideas you have no business chasing, because just because you can do something doesn't mean you should. Life is too short to live at the can-do level when the blessing you've been praying and believing for lives at the born-to-do level. Please give this video a like if I'm making sense. The third clue I call the frustration signal. What's the thing you can't stop complaining about? This is the thing that's broken in any industry or any space that you just can't look away from. You just don't notice it. You're bothered by it. You've had conversations about it. You've said out loud to yourself, oh, I could do that better. Not out of arrogance, but out of genuine dissatisfaction with how something is currently being handled. The frustration signal is a very important clue that matters because it tells you where your natural expertise might meet a market failure. When your strength overlaps with a problem that isn't being solved, that's not just a business idea sitting there. That's a lane that nobody else can drive in. That's a reason for an online business to exist that a market can feel immediately. It's not just about identifying a problem. It's about the fact that you just can't let it go. Other people see the same problem and they just shrug and move on. You see it and it bothers you enough to do something about it. That inability to walk away, that's how you know that this is a business that's yours to build. So far, we've addressed the 3 clues: the effortless expert pattern, the repeat ask, and the frustration signal, which leads us to the convergence moment. This is the moment I told you about in the beginning, so please pay attention because this is where it all comes together. Now, I want you to imagine someone who's been searching for the right business idea for several years. Let's call her Chelsea. Chelsea has watched almost every business-related YouTube video, downloaded every free guide. She's looked at the trending small business ideas, and she's tried to figure out how to start a business the way everyone tells you to, by looking outward. But here's what she hasn't noticed about her own life. When Chelsea meets entrepreneurs, within a few minutes, she can tell whether your offer is underpriced, your funnel is leaking, and who's working 10 times harder than they need to after a conversation that lasts only a few minutes. She just can't help it. It just shows up. That's her effortless expert pattern. She thinks everyone sees it, but they don't. Business owners ask her routinely, can you take a look at my offer? Can you tell me if my pricing makes sense? And what do you think about this launch I'm about to set out on? It never occurred to her to charge for it because it's what she does. That's her repeated ask. The market has been validating her and she's been treating it like small talk. Now, every time Chelsea sees someone charging $500 for a program that's worth $5,000, or worse, charging $5,000 for one that's worth only $500, it bothers her. Not in a judgmental way, but in a this doesn't have to be this way kind of way. She knows there's a better model. This is her frustration signal. Now watch what happens when all 3 converge. Chelsea doesn't have a niche problem anymore. She doesn't need to find a profitable business idea because it's who she is. She doesn't need to look for anything outside of her. Her effortless expert pattern recognition, seeing prices and offer misalignment, her repeated ask when entrepreneurs ask her to fix their offers and what she thinks of their offers, and her frustration signals, whether it's undercharging or overcomplicating things. All all three are pointing to the same space. Chelsea isn't a business coach who does a little bit of everything. Chelsea is a premium offer strategist for coaches, consultants, and entrepreneurs. And she didn't find this niche in a YouTube search. She just didn't recognize it right away. And if you've been paying attention to your own life while I've been talking about Chelsea, you already see it. This is your convergence moment, and you can't unsee it now. Once again, I'm not saying you shouldn't do market research, but not at the expense of looking inside yourself. And sometimes you'll spend months, even years, trying to start a business you have no business starting, even if it's profitable. Now, I'm going to be fairly direct here because our economy is littered with businesses that shouldn't exist in the first place. The service is so bad that you know that they're out to make a quick buck, and what's necessary and what's in the best interest of the client is the last thing on their minds. And we don't need any more businesses like that. Now, to be fair, you probably didn't set out to run your business this way, but this is exactly what happens when you're disconnected from the ultimate aim of serving people at the highest level, with entrepreneurship as the vehicle to achieve the ultimate outcome, not the outcome itself. And I've lived that, and that is a miserable feeling, especially when I worked in corporate, to do everything you think you ought to do, only to find out you're building the wrong thing. Not a bad thing, but the wrong thing, and there is a difference. Here's the good news. The search was never the problem. It was the direction of the search that was the problem. So here's what I want you to understand about what comes next. When you discover the idea that's built into you, and now you know how to find it, the next question becomes, how do you build it without building another job? Because the worst thing you could do, and I've watched people do this, is to discover the right idea and then build the wrong way. Manually hustling, just trading time for every dollar. That's not a business. That's just a job you created for yourself. And that's the opposite of the freedom that you have the opportunity to earn. There's an infrastructure that lets you build on what you were born to do without grinding yourself into the ground. A system that handles the back end, your follow-up, your scheduling, email, client management, so you can stay in your lane and do the thing you were created to do. Now, I'm going to show you exactly what that looks like later in this series. Please subscribe and give this video a like if you haven't already. And the rest of this series is going to take you all the way from idea to an online business that actually runs so you can build the business of your dreams. If you haven't watched video number 1 already, I'd recommend you do that. And stay tuned for video number 3. You can find more information in the show notes. So once again, this is Ralph. Thanks very much for tuning into your source to learn business and wealth God's way. Always remember that faith plus work equals success, and I'll see you in the next video. Take care and God bless.